Monstroid! But it's not working. We're going to fix it, and we're going to show you how to do that right now.
Now, a raging terror grabs hold of the universe. Monstroid. When Monstroid gets wound up, it grabs, it lurches, it spins, and thrashes. Because just like Horde, it's bad.
I love it. I'll stop it.
Monstroid.
Got it.
New from the Masters of the Universe. You put it together. Action figures sold separately from Mattel. It's a grabber.
Hello, my name is Motu Joe, and we're going to show you how to fix a Monstroid. This guy needs to be cleaned up a little bit, as you can see, and as you saw in the intro, he is not spinning properly. The fourth leg is missing, but that doesn't matter for the instructional video and showing you how this guy works, what's inside of him, what makes him tick, and how are we going to repair something like this. But first, let's go ahead and get this cleaned up, and then we'll show you what it looks like. So first I'm going to take it apart, and we'll do that right now. I've done a little bit of prep removing some of the screws, but we'll speed that up here for you in just a second.
Audio Jungle.
Just as a heads up, when removing the legs, very similar to the Spy-Door connection, these ones seem to be more durable, but it's a down. You push down and you can see a little flex in the plastic, and it normally pops right out. That's how you wind up getting to that point. We've got one more screw I think to remove. A little bit still. And here it is, the inside of Monstroid. And right away we can see quite a bit of shavings, a little bit of shavings, but it's weird. It looks more like dirt. There is a little bit of metal shavings, but it looks more like dirt upon close examination. That's somehow, worked in through the openings here and whatnot. Your leg pieces are removable. All four can come right off, fairly easy. This is a very, very simple, straightforward design. But why is it not working? We've got a drive shaft here for the mechanism that we crank. We can see the gears lead out to the handle, which turns right here. This does come off. There are teeth inside, as you can see there, that make it so you line up perfectly every time if you do take it apart. But why doesn't it work? What's wrong with this? Well, it's pretty obvious when you look at the bottom side. As I drop my screws, right here, this is the problem. This piece is broken, and we were lucky enough to find the piece inside when we did our pre-examination, and we'll take a look at how we're going to fix that here next. Quick side note. If you want to actually take this piece off, this does just squeeze in, and this does pop out, and you can have a true full disassembly for cleaning, which is what I would recommend doing. The arms. Question about the arms. Similar type of mechanism, but these tend not to come out. For whatever reason, I have not had good success on taking the arms out, so I'm going to leave these ones intact. So if you do decide to try to take them and remove them, use caution, as these pieces can break, as from my experience, these two clips act more like the Spy-Door clips and tend to break. So we'll go ahead and clean this up, and there you go.
Alakazam, alakazoo! It will look anew!
Okay, that was pretty cheesy. Anyway, I'm soaking it in this, and I'll give it a scrub, and that's pretty much it. This is just a little bit of light dish soap, and some warm water, and a scrub brush, and just do a little bit of cleaning. That's about it.
Audio Jungle.
It's broken right there, and when we took it apart, this piece, fortunately, was in there. And, as we see it, marries up perfectly. It's an interesting mold. No, it popped off right there, but it's not perfectly level. I know it'll be tough to see when if I just set this on there, but see what I mean? How the angle is there. Let's try to. There you go. I think you can see it a little bit better now. It's not perfectly straight, so I'm thinking that this might have been a slight manufacture flaw. I don't have another one to compare to. I believe it should have come out just a hair farther to come out, and probably that's why this side was overstressed. Making a guess, but we'll take an attempt here at fixing it. There's probably a little bit better angle there, clarity. You can see the what I'm talking about. So how are we going to fix it? We'll show you that next. All right, so what's it going to take to repair this Monstroid? We're going to use some clear 2-part epoxy. We're going to have a scrap piece of paper for mixing. It says it's actually an old envelope. A couple toothpicks, one for stirring and one for applying, because we don't need that much for that. So let's go ahead and get a little bit of sound here, and nothing super special going on here, so I'll probably skip this part. That is more than enough. And with this particular type of epoxy, see, I just pulled it back. I don't know if you saw that or not, but it pulled back just a hair. I like to clean it and immediately put the cap on, where did I set? There it is. Immediately put the cap on because, and it's even slotted for the proper sides. It will, there it goes. We'll be good to go for future repair. All right, so we have not a lot of time to mix this and play with this. It will harden in 30 minutes. It'll be bonded within 30 minutes, but for this particular application, because of the nature of the stress that's going to be applied on it, it's almost half of the weight or pressure, if you will, that's going to be when this toy is in use. So we're going to want to try to, they say they typically you don't want to over strengthen the, starting to get through the paper there a little bit. You don't want to over strengthen the repair, and that's true in, I think, in most cases, but with this particular case, there's so much force, and it's almost exactly halfway through the middle. It's almost exactly halfway. We're rolling the dice a little bit here to see if this will even hold, but in theory, the epoxy is actually going to be stronger where we're repairing than the actual plastic was originally, in theory. So we can leave the mixing one aside, and let's see if we can zoom in even closer for us. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the epoxy to the actual head with the tip of this down the sides, and I'm going to avoid trying to go on the inside because we do have to get the drive shaft from the toy down there. Again, you don't need much. And again, I'm sticking towards the outside. Attempting to stick to the outside of this repair. The fin I don't care so much about. If I get a little over, that's okay. Yeah, might have been just a hair too much. All right. The nice thing with this is that there's a little fin that I can grab hold of and know that I'm pretty much not, and I dropped it. That's what happens sometimes. Fat fingers. Let's take this to flick it out quickly. We will get this. You'll watch and see. Holy crud, it didn't focus. There we go. Use this finger here to stabilize. And boom. See how inside there's very little, next to no glue residue showing. And that's what we want. Sorry. That's what we want to have happening right in here. The camera can adjust. I don't mind that it squishes out. That repair should bond in very, very quickly here, and it should last. Why is this not focusing? Apologize, everybody. There we go. Probably just a little too close. So there's, I don't mind, again, glue squishing out the outside. That's fine. The epoxy, it should, I mean, I'm moving this pretty good, and it's already stuck on there pretty well. But now the patience part. Now we're going to have to, we can see inside perfectly clear, shouldn't affect anything. The stem of the drive shaft goes right down between the 3 forks. And if all goes well, this thing will be able to spin freely again. I actually am going to add just a little bit to the outside over here. Just a hair. I feel that this side was shortened. I put a little too much on, but we'll see. There's, depending on the plastic you use, it's a little bit of trial and error. And that's it. We're going to go ahead and set it aside and wait 24 hours. And we'll reassemble this bad boy, and hopefully we have a working Monstroid.
24 hours later.
All right, 24 hours later, and let's take a close look. Yeah, let's see if we can even zoom in with the glue epoxy. Seems to have done exactly what we want. Nothing inside messing up this. There you go. Yeah, nothing messing up. This side over here where I put a little bit of fill came out well. And I also noticed something here. We talked about this being misshapen in the other part. Well, when we marry the two, we can see that there's very clearly a gap there. That should go all the way down, and that's a factory error. So that's definitely weak point. That's probably why it broke where it did. So mystery solved there. And since we're looking at this, we'll show you a little bit of close up on how this works before we go to the full assembly. Motor, if you will, inside, and this is the crankshaft that goes in just a little bit there. And this wheel marries again. There's a little groove in there, as you can see. Goes like this. Sorry, I just almost flipped it backwards the wrong way. Trying to get it there. Clicks in. You can feel it rest in there. This goes in here. You have to keep your finger on this because there's no. See how that's the clicking you're hearing when you wind it, right? And normally, when this is inside the housing like it should be, as that just slipped off, this is the stop button and it's pushed up against it. So that's why it's not, that's why when He-Man punches this in, that's what stops it from working. So when we do this, and I get this right, this is really loud. It spins super, super fast. I can let go of this side. But as soon as I let go of this, watch. It's amazing that this thing takes this much abuse and still works. That's crazy. Oh, I love it. All right, so now I'm going to set this aside and we'll assemble this guy and see how it works. Oh, here are all the parts and pieces to put this guy back together. And here's a fun little piece. I did a contest on the Facebook page at just asking people, what is this from? And well, here you go. Here you can see. You know that this is the bottom because the ring that you see on it, it's left by those the bumps inside of there. That's what left the ring. So you know that was in the bottom. Not that I don't think it really matters, but anyway, that goes in there like that, and it's a pretty straightforward assembly. This is where the punch bracket goes. So we know that this goes here, and it just kind of falls right in place, right? This goes in, sorry, upside down there. That's where you feel the click. See it kind of that click function there. So leave it in. It's probably going to fall out as I'm assembling this and just putting pieces in, but at any rate, legs down. Make sure they stay down because I've had it where I put this trying to test this out earlier that it was up and it was messing with me. So that's never good. This is our repaired piece. Yeah, we can click this in too. Go ahead and do that. There. Once we put these in, so fun fact, I said earlier I didn't want to mess with these. After a hot soak in the magic bath, This was able to be very loose, very much. It became very, very pliable, and it popped back out. So I was able to do that. The other thing I noticed is inside. I think we can see that. That's from this being pushed and played with and forced up. Both sides are like that. Nothing much I can do. You could take a heat gun. You could try to get in there, but that's going to risk it. But this should just click in. Nice and smooth. Perfect, just like we want. Same on this side. Nice and smooth, just like we want. And this piece is coming back together nice. Set it off to the side. With the feet in last. Crankshaft, drive shaft. Crankshaft. Boop. There we go. I actually like to lift it up and get it on the end. I don't know if you saw that or not, but I'm lifting it up just a hair so that way it's easier to put in there. And there went the plunger, just like I thought it would. The stop. All right, that's it. That just sets there like this, and when we put the outer shell in, that's what will hold it in its final place like it should be. Which we're already there. That's the point. Pretty cool. It happens fast. Spin this around, make sure it's then pointing down, so square up. I use that typically. The feet typically stay in. This, because of the nature of them, this piece here likes to fall out because there's nothing holding in place. That stays in place. Those tend to stay in place. So when I go to put this on, if I marry it up to the right spot to here, square side, square side, square side, round side. If we do this right, just like that, you hear that? You know what we can even do? What do you say? Want to give it a whirl? Let's give it a quick little whirl. Make sure I squeeze on this tight. Oh, oh. Push it in. That's a good sign. It's holding it in place. Oh. I think we might have victory here. Let's just hold it. Let's see if he spins vertically this way. Let's not put too much stress on him at first. Oh, this is going to be awesome. All right. Log it back down. I'm going to go ahead and we'll put these screws in. And, just a quick little note. You saw earlier I was using one of these type of screwdrivers, interchangeable heads. They're really, really helpful. I have them all over the place. But when it came to this particular one, the shaft here didn't quite reach down there. It was a little bit awkward. You could get it, if you did this type of a thing, you could extend it out and get in there. But I just switched it up to this. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. All right, done. Now it's time to put on the legs and see how he wobbles around. Maiden voyage. Here we go. Just like he's doing with his hands up. Yeah! Success! Woo! It's the simple things. So that's it. He is fixed. He is repaired. Monstroid, using some epoxy, a little bit of patience time cleaning it up, came out really nice. And again, thank you to Tardy's Collector's Corner, my local comic shop of choice. And again, I appreciate allowing me to purchase this, make a deal, and also to film this thing, because this is really, really cool. It's something I didn't have in my collection until recently, until just now, thanks to Tardy's Collector's Corner, and I'm ecstatic. So thank you again, and always check out your local comic shop, support local small businesses if you can. And again, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for watching this video, because I enjoy it. If you have any questions, you go ahead and send me a message through Facebook, through at Motu Joe, or through YouTube here. Send me a message, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And if you have any repair video requests, go ahead.
You're not supposed to do that.
Why is it not spinning?
It was trying. Dun dun dun.
It's not working again. I think we got one spin. I don't hear anything broken. Well, this happens sometimes. The repair did not hold. As a matter of fact, it split right down the middle again. And what you're seeing here is super glue. So I used some super glue, and notice anything else besides the super glue residue there? Notice that? That's correct. In my attempt to fix what I attempted to fix before, I damaged it further. So as part of the repair process, if you remember, I said it's a little bit of trial and error, learning some of this stuff. Well, made a little bit of a mistake, and I will be able to fix it. I will be able to get it back on to where it'll function. But what we're going to do now is, how are we going to fix this? With this not having that chunk, it was a short shot in the injection mold. We got to do something to support this, otherwise it's just going to break again. So let's go ahead and show you some of the tools and pieces that we're going to use to do that. All right, in order to do this, we're going to need a blowtorch, pair of needle nose, some copper wire, and a little bit of patience and luck. So what I have done is I have pre-made a little copper ring, and I have pre-made a little copper branding tool, in essence. And I will do my best to get this in a good light to see. There's a little curve there. That little curve fits the angle very, very closely. We'll try to do it this way so you can see. It just goes like that. See how it fits on there? Pretty close to round. So what I'm going to do is heat this up via the blowtorch, holding onto it. And I'm going to carefully take this at a slightly downward angle and just put a little melted notch right there. Flip it over and do the same thing on this side. Once that's done, on the side that was not as broken, which is this side here, this will go over, fit between the two grooves that we melted, and then this will go over that, and then we will twist tie with the needle nose, and then that should never come undone again. So let's go ahead and start that process and see how it goes. If we take a close look there, we can see two little channels that are on either side that are formed. Use the same size wire, which should fit, and it does. Even clicked in. You see that? That's awesome. That is a great fit. See the other side? The other side. Okay, yep, there it goes. Other side went in as well. So now what we need to do is reposition this ring so that way it's ready to be twisted more easily than the current position. So you got to do a little bit of prep in advance for that, and I'll do that right now. Alright, sorry that last little bit might have been off camera, but I do believe we have what we're looking for. That is inside of a notch that was melted in. And that side is inside of a notch that was melted in. And over here, we have twist tied it. So it's very, 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 very tight around this. Whatever little bit of play on the imperfection of the ring has been tightened now because of the tightening of this. And take 2, repair number 2, should be good to go. So we'll go ahead and what we have to do now is I have to patiently wait for the glue to dry on this piece, and then we should be good to go. You know what? Let's do a quick test. Let's just wind it up and see if I can get her to spin and if it holds that way. All right, let's see. All right, that's awesome. But let's take a look and see what type of stress we have. I am not seeing any separation. I think we may have this guy fixed. Now, again, this is more of a display piece. It'll always have to be disclosed as repaired. But in theory, this repair, with the wire going around it now, should last longer than anything else on here. So I will not put glue. Just in case this does separate again, I am not going to glue this wire on. It could possibly be replaced again in the future if it just really got mangled or wrecked. But I think if this goes, the whole thing is going to be toast at that point. All right, so we're going to try to get this little piece you see down here back on here. Now again, this only has to have a slight little bit of flex, only on these 2 little teeth. So I'm hoping that this mild little glue repair, this little bit of glue down here, will be enough to keep it in place. If not, then crap, there's a mistake. And like I said, I normally don't like to use super glue for that reason. See how it ran down the side there? If you just use a piece of paper towel, it soaks it back up through the paper towel and it tends to not leave any residue behind. Make sure you try not to get it on your finger, because then everything becomes sticky. All right, can I feel it touching my finger a little bit? That's not good. Again, we don't want any glue down there. That'll be all right. Now, this will not likely withstand more than 1 reassembly. So, meaning once I get this piece to glue on, and once I get this piece in place, this will likely be the only time I'll ever put it back in, because it's likely to not want to flex. It's going to likely want to break at this point. Now this is where experimenting with glues can come into play. That epoxy I used originally to try to fix this actually had a little bit of flex. So I don't know if I didn't mix it up properly, if it didn't cure it long enough, but be careful on what glues you use. More than likely what I'm going to wind up doing is I'm probably going to get a little piece of aluminum can, like a soda can, and I'm going to cut a little piece of aluminum and I'll put it on the inside. I'll curve it to the inside of this. I'll set it on the inside. I'll glue both sides of it so that way it stays in there and it gives it just a little bit of extra security and rigidity for when I pop it back in, because it's got to get through this opening and it's got to flex enough to do that and not break. Once it's back in this, we should be good to go. All right, let's take a look and see how the repair did. Really, the repair that you need to see is this. Right there on that backside. Unfortunately, last night, I tried it. I gave it a whirl to see. I thought that this would probably happen. Super glue is not flexible. So when I put it on, hoping it would give a little bit of flex, and it just went flying. It broke. So I knew I was going to have to do this type of repair, and it worked. So it's looking really good. And the important part here is the copper repair is solid, good. It's in the channels. It's not doing anything. But this has to free spin, and it free spins perfectly. So that is exactly what we want to have happen. There's minimal stress that's going to happen on it from this way. We are going to try and test this out while putting figures up here in our final test for durability. And that's going to be the make or break point. And we'll find out coming up here right after we assemble this, what you're going to do next. All right, there she is. He, she, who knows? But this should be good to go. Fingers crossed. Repair attempt number 2. Trial test underway. He-Man has punched it, so the stop button is in. Here we go. Yeah! The second attempt looks to work. Repair seems to have held. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and give another quick test and see. Make sure it is. Oh, that's encouraging. It wants to spin again. Last time when I did this, the second time I gave it a whirl, it said nope. Oh yeah! Yeah! Okay, so the fourth leg is definitely needed when you get some top weight on it. But it works with the guy! Okay, go ahead. You definitely need a fourth leg to get this guy to work properly. But at least the repair seems to hold. Let's see. We're going to reach over and... There we go. Ah! How you feeling, Grizzlor? Oh. I'm so happy it worked. That's awesome. There she is. Fully repaired Monstroid. Less one leg, but we can pick one of those up pretty easy. And if you like the video, please hit the subscribe button. And if you can, hit the little bell there so that way when we go live and we post new stuff, you get alerted to it. Thank you again. Motu Joe signing off saying thank you very much.